Welcome back, rSpace fam. Glad to have you. In this episode, we've got someone looking for some advice about an awkward situation. And then we've got another one where somebody's just heartbroken. Let's see if either of them are in a position where we can help. First up, my ex-wife wants me to support her affair child because her boyfriend dumped her and is being difficult with child support. Advice? I almost don't need to read this story to say, no, but maybe I'm missing something. Let's read a little further and see what's going on. Long story short, I married my ex-wife young. We were together for 10, married for 6. I found out she was cheating on me back in 2014. One morning, she came back from an appointment all happy and told me I was going to be a father for a third time. I had known for a couple of months up until this point, and it made me sick getting intimate with her. We hadn't had sex in over 5 months, and she told me she was 10 weeks along, which is when I told her I knew everything. She tried denying it, and when her telling everyone the conception date, it was shaky. She could never get it right. She didn't really realize how sloppy she got and assumed that when I suspected her cheating, I wouldn't snoop. So I left her. I got hate from her family, but after sending them the photos, only her brother and father apologized. My ex-wife cut them both off after that. She begged me to come back, but I refused, and within the month, she moved her affair partner in. I found this out from our kids. Our divorce was extremely difficult, but after a year, I was finally free from her. I focused my life on work and the kids, and everything seemed great. I meet my now fiancé 3 years after leaving my ex. She had been divorced in the last year and had 2 girls, 5 and 1. I loved her and the kids, and both my kids. Loved spending time with these girls as well. 18 months later, we moved in together, and we became our own family unit. In August, I proposed to my fiancé, and she said yes. Both of us were elated to finally be with someone who truly made us happy. The kids know and are now super excited. I had to tell my ex, and up until this point, she was respectful to my wife. But once she heard we were getting married, something changed with her. I still talked to her brother, and what he told me was she became obsessed with getting married and brought it up several times with her boyfriend. This caused him to leave her. He became difficult with paying child support for their son. Me and my ex had kept things friendly for our kids, and I offered to find her a lawyer that wasn't expensive. I knew a few, so I thought I could make her searching easy for her. The thing is, I gave her the number of someone, but told me she wasn't sure she wanted to cause more drama. I told her that her ex still had priorities to stick to, and he shouldn't walk away and do the right thing. A couple days later, she texted me and asked if I was willing to give her extra money each month for her child. I told her that he wasn't my child, and I gave her enough for the other kids anyway. She made it a point I pay for things for my fiancé's kids all the time, and how it seemed weird I would do that while allowing to also call me dad. That was their choice. The youngest was still young and didn't understand. She never met her biological dad, and the oldest, just one day, started calling me dad after watching her sister do it for months. The truth is, sometimes I was paying for small things for the girls, but my fiancé handled everything else for them. But my ex saw this as a huge problem, and acts like I am now loaded with money. The truth is I am now. I haven't responded to her since she said that to me, but know she will bring it up this weekend when dropping off the kids. I don't want to get legal involved like I did with the divorce, because I will be left emotionally drained. She doesn't understand the word no too well either. Is there any way I could do this without constant fight or arguing with her? I will add this though. I am legally on the birth certificate. I fought for that when she tried to put her down, even getting legal involved with this woman. She acts like no laws exist and will fight until one of us dies from her crap. So a little more gray area there, but I'm still inclined to say no. Let's see what the community says. Zeebles says, unless supporting the children is something you want to do, I'd tell her to pound salt. I can't imagine she has any real legal recourse. Take care of you and yours and do what you think is right. Make sure you can live with the choice you make and you'll be just fine. Trying to be cheeky thinks, it's possible in some states that if he's established himself as the father by giving her child support, he might be on the hook for it forever. It's ridiculous, but it's like those laws that if you are married, it's your kid even if genetically it isn't. Zeebles comes back with, true facts. She'd have to try and push the issue though and demonstrate that the other assumed father is not in fact the father or had not also had some involvement. I'd make her push the issue, to be honest. Furbag84 thinks, oh mate, this is an awful situation. What a horrid woman. What she done to you is awful. I commend you for finding the strength to leave her. even with the kids in the equation. If your name is not on the birth certificate and they are not your child, then she has more hope getting blood from a stone. You are not legally bound to pay her anything for that child support, only your own. I hope things settle so you can live the rest of your life in peace. I suppose she got nasty when she found out you were getting married because you were moving on. She was to blame and didn't want to accept it. And then when you left, she didn't like it. Now she's being difficult and spiteful. The law's on your side here, though. Good luck. Okay, maybe he wasn't from Australia, but he said mate and it triggered me. Icy Poet, our last comment, says, I am confused. Who is the father on the birth certificate? What country is this in? The legal issues here could be super complicated. If you think you don't owe her anything, then just don't pay her for anything. She has a point about you paying for stepchildren. She is still the mother of your children. I remember when I was a kid, my dad would make a point of having my mom somehow prove that the money he gave her was only for me and not for my sister, who was not his child. It was the most humiliating experience of my life, and I hated my dad so much for being so mean to my sister, who lived with me and who I loved so much. He didn't give any more than legally required or anything, but even the money he gave for me was scrutinized and came with caveats. Alright, see if you got any thoughts down in the comments. Meanwhile, I'm moving on. My wife has been cheating with her ex when I leave town. Like I said, just heartbroken. I apologize in advance for how long this post is, but I need to paint the picture of what's going on. My wife and I are 36 and have been married for 9 years. Her daughter is my stepdaughter, who I call my daughter, and she calls me dad, as she was 4 when we met. My career forces us to move often and me to be gone for long periods of time. At the beginning of our relationship, there were a lot of guys messaging her in an attempt to hook up. She always told them she was in a relationship, and the conversations soon ended. One of her exes, we'll call him Joe, sent her a letter stating he would do everything in his power to get her back, but she never responded to my knowledge. Fast forward 2 years to my return from my first long trip away, a year. I go to check my email, and it's hers that signed in. Admittedly, I looked at the first message, which was from a swinger website, informing her she had a message. When I asked her about it, she claimed that she hadn't been on that website since we got together. Okay, fine. I do notice that now her sex drive is now quite lower than before due to antidepressant medication. Let's move on 4 years to the return from my second trip away, 9 months. Upon my return, there was nothing crazy. It seemed everything went well, and we were back to a loving family. The only weird thing that gained during that time was my wife was getting ready to go back home to visit family and started shaving her you-know-what in the shower right before her flight. I asked her why she needed to do that when she's just going to visit family, and her reply was that it gets uncomfortable. Alright. Only a few months later, I had to leave again for 9 months. I was looking for a computer to take with me, and she suggested I just use her iPad. Awesome. Let me set it up, and we'll be good to go. The day before I leave, I open Facebook Messenger to log out and sign in with mine. I see an option for secret messages. Okay, you have my interest. When I open it, I see a message from her ex, Joe, 4 years ago. Well, now I'm opening it. I see that she's sending Joe topless photos and telling him she's going to be back in town for a few days. She then gives him her number and the messages stop. When I ask her, she starts crying and tells me that yes, she had sent him pictures and he sent her some in return. They had plans to meet up, but she claims they never did. She swears she'll do anything she can to make up for it, proves she's changed, and swears it was a one-time mistake in which nothing physical happened. She said it was so long ago, and it's been killing her ever since then. This is just what I wanted to deal with the day before I leave. I tell her that she needs to work on herself while I'm gone, but we will get through it, and hopefully this makes us stronger than ever. The next day is our anniversary, and I left for 9 months. When I get home from my latest trip, my daughter, now 14, is having a tough time with being a teen and her emotions. During one of our talks, she tells me that during my second trip away, she woke up one morning and saw a naked man in my bedroom sitting on the side of the bed trying to wake up my wife, who was also naked. She said she ran back to her room and started crying. About 15 minutes later, she said she went back into my room where my wife was now awake, asking her why she's crying. She told her she saw a man in the house. My wife then gets out of bed, grabs the gun, and starts looking through the home to find no one is there. My wife then tells my daughter not to tell me about it since nothing happened, and the conclusion was she must have been dreaming. When I ask my wife about it, she swears there was no one there, and she's scared because she didn't have any idea why my daughter saw someone. So that night, with my suspicion boiling over at this point, I'm determined to put my mind at ease by checking her email and finding nothing. Well, she's been using her school email, and there are Craigslist messages from a couple seeking a partner to join them. Messages from a swingers website welcoming her to their site, and that she has messages. A message from KIK so she can text on a different app, and another one-night stand website welcoming her to the site. I'm completely devastated and have no idea where to go from here. We have raised our daughter together, own a house together, vehicles, dogs, and our families love both of us. I'm looking for any type of advice on what someone has done that worked for them in a situation similar to this. Please help me. I'm pretty sure I know what I'd do, but it's more entertaining reading the comments and seeing what you guys think. The Savant Sage thinks, unfortunately, OP, you've had to learn the hard way that long-distance relationships, which is basically what you had due to your job, rarely ever work. You are literally spending more time away than you are with the family, so I imagine it's kind of hard to really get to know who a person truly is when you don't spend a majority of the time with them. Makes it easy to ignore red flags because, quite honestly, you don't even know them in the first place. Now you have several options before you. 1. Divorce. 2. Stay, knowing that this behavior will continue, but you're also having your cake. You're gone for months on end, I imagine. It would not be hard to find women unless you're on an oil rig or something. 3. Try and reconcile. Bottom line, you're hurting and you should take a step back and figure out what's best for you.